Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everyone doing? Welcome to the second month of Tuesday Talk with Dr. Yaz. Thank you all for tuning in with us tonight. Be sure to like the video and share the video. We apologize for being tardy. There was some slight technical issues, but we are on the air. We are so glad that you decided to join in with us on tonight. Again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Be sure to make comments in the comment area. I have access to my Facebook page, so if there are any questions you may have as we move forward, hopefully I'll be able to access that while we're talking. But again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a great panel with us on tonight. We have a great topic for you tonight. Again, I am Yasmin World. I reside in the Middle Georgia area. My purpose with this monthly virtual talk show is just to bring hope to the world and share resourceful tools to progress through life issues. We all have some type of issue or areas of improvement that we need. With the proper skills, we can push through and live a complete and full life. A life of abundance. Abundance is not always wealth. That's something most desire, but having a mind that is peace, that is at peace and not raging at war. Having a smile that says, I love me and I appreciate me. Having an assurance and confidence that yields you can be whole. There are resources and coping tools that we can adapt into our life. This virtual show airs the last Tuesday of every month at 8 p.m. We started out, premiered last month in March, so this is round two. So let us know how we are doing. If there are any topics you would like for me to share, be sure to put some suggested topics in the comment area or inbox me, and we'll try to have that highlighted one month this year or even next year. Again, be sure to like this video and to share this video. Thanks for tuning in with us on tonight. Some acknowledgments. Reginald Holloway Sr., my brother-in-law, married to my sister Kimberly. Thanks for the awesome music for the intro video. Victor Williams, Majestic Graphics. He created the logo for me. Royalty Rain Consulting and Design. They created the intro and outro video. Kudos to them. Christy Drigger, she's an educator. She has a side hustle which she's passionate about with taking pictures. She's on, and they're all on Facebook if you would like their services. Let's talk about it. Y'all ready to get into our topic on tonight? Let's talk about it. Our topic tonight is single dads. That's right, single dads. And we welcome our panel on tonight with us. We're going to go into our introduction. And before I go into our introduction, there was a third panelist that was going to be with us. He's on the flyer, Mr. Jason Garcia, but unfortunately he had to work, so he was unable to join us on tonight. But we're so glad to have Mr. Allen, aka Duke Robinson II, as well as Mr. Damian Richardson. Allen Duke Robinson is a single young man with a seasoned, mature outlook on life. He's the proud father of two wonderful daughters, Tyaja and Nyla. Did I say her name right, Duke? Thank you. He is currently positioned as the Worship and Arts Director of Fellowship Bible Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor Tolan Morgan Sr. in Warner Robins. Allen has been honored for his dedication and faithfulness both to the body of Christ and the music industry. Throughout his musical career, he has had the privilege of playing on platforms of Bishop Paulus Martin, Dr. Juanita Bynum, and many other worldwide preachers. He's also accompanied several gospel recorded artists such as Patrick Lundy, Beverly Crawford, Tasha Cobbs Leonard, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, and Norman Hutchins, just to name a few. A God-fearing man he is who is living this life so he may live again. Excuse me. Welcome to the show, Duke. Glad to have you on tonight.
Thank you for
Our
having
second
me.
panelist for tonight is Mr. Damian Richardson. He is a native of East Dublin, Georgia. He currently resides in Noonan, Georgia. He is a 1997 graduate of the East Lawrence High School. And while he was at East Lawrence High School, he was a star athlete on the field, football field. He's the youngest of two older sisters. He has a host of aunts, uncles, nieces. nephews. He attended Darton College. He also attended Albany State University. They're located in the Albany area. He is the proud father of one son, Christian. Welcome to the show, Damien. I also forgot to include his hobbies. Me and him were just sitting here chatting before we started. I said, "Man, what are some of your hobbies?" And we both was like, "Well, we so busy working, and with this pandemic, it's kind of hard to put those hobbies in." But Damien is he's a family man. He loves to spend time with his family, with the son. And what I told about him, what I like about him, he and I are cousins. He has a great way of just kind of bringing people together, calling, saying, "Hey, let's just get together and cook. Let's get together to pray. Whatever the need is, he's there." So I love that genuineness and kindness and loyalty he has, not only to the Lord, but to being a father and just being a dedicated family member. Every day, morning, noon, or night, he's going to send some type of inspirational message. And I'm grateful for those inspirational messages that he sends on a daily basis because it's needed. He is employed with the Kia Manufacturing of Georgia. He is a team leader. He also likes to grill. Welcome to the show, cousin. How you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Good, good. We are so glad to have you again. To Alan, Duke Robinson, and Damon Richardson, again, be sure to like the video, share the video. If there are any questions, I'm going to try to man my Facebook page. I mentioned that earlier. But we're going to go ahead and get started. I have some statistics that I want to share on tonight just about parenting. It says, according to the United States Census Bureau, there were 2 million single fathers in 2016. That's a large number, 2 million single fathers, according to the United States Census Bureau in 2016. About 40% were divorced, 38% were never married, 16% were separated, and 6% were widowed. According to a report by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, published in the Lancet Public Health magazine, single parent families have become increasingly common around the globe. The OECD report also defines single parents as people living with at least one biological or adopted child and include those who may have been divorced, separated, widowed, single, never married, or not living with a partner. According to fathers.com, it says more than 20 million children live in a home without the physical presence of a father. Millions more have dads who are physically present but emotionally absent. If it were classified as a disease, fatherlessness would be an epidemic worthy of attention as a national emergency. But we're grateful tonight because we have two dads on the platform, panelists that are active in their children's life. So let's talk about it. Single parenting, single dads. And my career, I work as a high school counselor in a public education arena, and I see a variety of family dynamics. I see mom and dad. I see single parents. I see a lot of single parents that I deal with when it comes to counseling. Single moms, single dads, grandparents. I even see same sex marriage. So I see a variety. But what I do see, whether it's two parents, one parents, or two couples that may have been divorced or just doing their best to raise together, I treat them all the same. Are the dynamics of the students different? Sometimes I see different, sometimes I don't. But as long as there's at least one parent in that person's life, whether it's a parent, guardian, or by way of adoption, that child can be successful. My first question is, and just chime in, how did becoming a parent change your life? Damien chuckle. How did becoming a parent change your life? Hey, you're a dad. Hey, the baby's on the way. Hey, I'm expecting. Hey, what impact has being a father played in your life as a male?
It changed me knowing that I have a big responsibility now. And
Okay.
being a father, you don't want nobody else raising your child when you could do
Mm,
it yourself.
mm, I like that. Big responsibility,
Uh,
knowing that you can do it. Yes, chime in, dude.
for me, having girls, setting an example um, through my actions, not always getting it right, not always being not about being perfect, but
Hmm.
showing them how they should be treated, and makes you kind of just tighten up with your actions and certain things you do because they always watching.
They always watching. That's true. You know, I'm
Hmm.
not a parent, but I do. I always highlight. I have a niece that's, I think tonight is 11 or 12, and I have two nephews now, a 5, 6 year old and a 1 year old. And I noticed with them, with my niece, a lot of times she would stay with me throughout the summer, maybe a week or two, and I noticed she would watch everything I do. Watch everything. I would hear my sisters talk about that they watch what you do, and I noticed where I said, "Good grief, I got to tighten up as an aunt, or when she come down." So that is true. They watch what you do. You talked about setting an example and it being a big responsibility. I do believe that parenting is a it's a big responsibility. What has it been like being the father of two daughters?
Um,
Uh,
go,
trying
go
to
for
being an awesome father is trying to do things right,
Mm,
but it's not right, and trying to do things different from the way your parents did it,
okay.
but you really can't because it's already instilled in you. So
Mm,
whatever was done to me is coming back
mm,
10 times worse.
wow. Doing things right. And something I have heard parents say that sometimes they don't always get it right, but the intention is to do the right thing as a parent. Chime in, dude.
I grew up with the saying, "Do as I say and not as I do," and I know back then that the intent behind that was right, but I
Right.
try to now do as I do and as I say. Like I said, lead by example. Having girls in 2020 is different.
It's
I'm
different.
not I'm not real old. I'm 31, but how
Mm-hmm.
I was raised and what I encountered as a child is totally different versus the things that they encounter and that they come across.
Mm-hmm.
They got social media, they got cell phones, and all
That's
this other
true.
stuff. So you have to be careful of certain things that they're on because you got people that's prowling
Mm,
and just looking for little innocent girls.
that's true. That is so true. A lot of things that children, teenagers, young adults have access to in 2020, 2021. We didn't have access to 20 years ago. Like you said, social media. That's the go-to. That
Mm-hmm.
social media. That platform. It has their attention. It has our attention too. At the limit. Okay, you've been on Facebook too much. You've been on Instagram too much. Just shut it down for a couple of hours. It's the
Mm-hmm.
go-to. And you talked about that cell phone. Oh yes, 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 yes. It has their attention. So true. What has been a challenge for you? What has been some of the challenges that you have encountered as being a single parent, and maybe what have you done to overcome that challenge or work through that challenge of being a single parent, a single dad?
Having girls and being single, the dating part, I don't know if you plan on asking about this later on, but the dating is probably the most complicated thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because girls are protective of their dads.
Who
So
was that? They were like,
both of them.
talk
Yeah,
about it. How is
my
dating complicated as a single dad to two daughters that love their
okay,
dad?
but I don't bring nobody around my girls hardly ever, but I did try a couple of times, and that knowledge she real vocal about hers. One person she told me she said no, her kids are bad. and she she basically told me, "Down, go ahead and cut ties with that. That ain't gonna work for me."
How old is she now? If you don't mind, how old is she?
She's 9.
She's whoa. She cutthroat.
Yeah,
She vocal.
she is.
Uh, I think the most challenging thing for me as a single dad and a single parent is um, raising my child a certain way in my household, and then when it goes back home, they raised another way or they act another way. Then we
Mm-hmm.
got to try to straighten it out. But
Mm-hmm.
the if you don't have communication or uh,
Mm.
outside communication with the mother of how we do things and how we're going to do things together for our child, it was very hard at first because you wind up bumping heads. Well, this is my house. I do what I want to do. This is my house. I do what I want to do. And then at the end of the day, we're only hurting the child because
Mm-hmm.
we're not on the same page. So along with the dating part, he did, yeah, that it's challenging with the son too because you want your son to respect the person that you're with, but at the same time, he has a mother that ain't nobody gonna take her place. So
Right.
that's a challenging part too.
Communication. You mentioned communication. That's something I didn't have written down, but that's a key quality I believe I would assume with co-parenting, raising a son, raising a daughter, whether it's one parent in the home or even with two, having to constantly communicate, the importance of communicating. You talked about the rules with some, maybe the rules maybe varying from this household, from that household, being on one accord when it comes to raising your son or daughter. That's so true. What
Can I
is,
say something on that
yes, please.
communication part?
Yes.
So sometimes we get stuck at communication and think that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my ex-wife, we get along pretty well. We co-parent pretty well, but
Good.
sometimes the complication comes in with comprehension, comprehending what you're trying to, what I'm trying to
Mm.
communicate becomes the issue. I'm not attacking you, or she's not attacking me. Ultimately, having the mindset of this is about the kid, the child, at the end of the day. So
Right.
comprehension sometimes get, that's where it gets stuck, and it's like, don't be defensive on either side. Not just talking about her or myself,
Right.
but you know, take a moment to step out of it from my personal opinion or my personal feelings, and
Mm-hmm.
think about it from the perspective of my child. And I think sometimes a lot of people get that, they get stuck in that, and they can't
Mm-hmm.
separate the two.
Mm-hmm. That's an important
So yeah.
concept that you brought out, the comprehension of what we're communicating, the comprehension of what's going on. That's true.
Hmm.
Good comments. What has been maybe the scariest moments in being a parent, and how did you work through that? Were there any seasons where you was like, I don't know if I can get through this, or how do I get through this? How did you get through it?
The scariest moment is uh, peer pressure,
Mm.
becoming a teenager,
Mm.
getting beside yourself, uh, learning how to drive. Uh, my son is 16 and we stay in Atlanta, so it's a busy highway. You're
Mm-hmm.
16, you got a cell phone, you're superstars in football. It's a lot of peer pressure. And we as parents, especially single parents, I know sometimes I'm overprotecting, and I try to explain stuff the way I see it, and they don't look at it their way because it it's a different terminology now.
Mm-hmm.
And the scariest moment is my son turning 16, learning how to drive, and you have a cell phone. Then you got to deal with cell phone driving, school, and you got to try to make sure they're okay when I'm not around, or
Mm,
they're going where they say they're going, and they're gonna be okay. Or
gotcha.
you driving and you hear sirens and you wonder, okay, did the police stop my son? Or is my son okay?
Mm,
That's the scariest part right
yeah.
I lost connection, so I don't know what your question was.
Thank you for chiming back in. The question was, we were just having a discussion about just the scariest moments in parenting. How did you work through that? And some things that Damien shared was just being the parent of a teenager, a male teenager, learning to drive in
Mm,
Atlanta
yeah,
with those interstates, peer pressure, right, raising a teenage son that's a star athlete, that's an attractive guy, just having to just deal with just those day-to-day things with parenting a teenager, teaching them to drive and not have that cell phone, or when the sirens, I hear the sirens, has my son been stopped?
yeah.
Has he been racially profiled? So that's kind of where we were at.
For me, it's again the dating phase, but it's on the opposite side of it.
Hmm.
Um, with having girls and the mom being a heterosexual woman, she's
Hmm.
going to start dating men.
Right.
And the scary part is that man trustworthy of being
Mm.
around my child? Um, Eventually, when she gets comfortable or whatever, maybe he's over there when she's taking a shower, or like the smallest of things, or they may go on a trip and she gets in a swimming pool. Is he looking at my child or children inappropriately, or God forbid ever touch them inappropriately, and I have to just go to jail for the rest of my life? That is the scary part for me with having a girl. But again, good communication, good comprehension. We haven't had any of those issues. But when you
Hmm.
first, especially if you, I got divorced. So
Hmm.
when we parted ways, that's the before we ever get to the dating phase. That's what's in my mind.
Gotcha.
You know, not am I intimidated by somebody else being in my child's life, but are they going to treat my child properly? Are they
Hmm.
going to not be inappropriate in their mind, or whether it's released? Um, so that's been my biggest fear, but I have not had any issues with that. Thank God.
Great. Glad you hadn't had any issues. So
Mm,
glad, because
won't have any issues.
we don't need Alan Duke Robinson II behind bars.
Mm,
But I
mm.
understand where you're coming from as a
Yeah,
dad of two daughters, and with Damon, the dad of a teenage son. Yeah, the role of parent changes everything. What matters most when it comes to your son? What matters most when it comes to your daughter, to your daughters?
now.
well,
What matters most, they turn out better than me.
Mm,
Um, with today's society, and from where I was 20 plus years ago,
mhm,
it's so much easier to get caught up into something and hard to get out of it.
mm,
mhm.
Which back then when it wasn't so much to do, but you still got in trouble. But now, if you that's it.
mm.
That's it. It
That's it.
ain't no more. If you got a good career ahead of you, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you make that one mistake, it don't take but one time, and you make that one mistake, your life is over with.
Mm,
And that's what I don't want to happen to my son.
mhm,
And that's what I pray every day, that, you know, he doesn't make one bad mistake, because we're not perfect.
mhm,
And
Right.
sometimes we do, just say we do stupid stuff.
mhm.
point blank without thinking, or we saw something on social media and we thought we could do it
Mm.
when you really can't.
Yeah. Repeat it so I can answer it properly.
Trying to look back to see what I asked. Okay, here it is. It was what matters most. What matters most when it comes to parenting your daughters?
um, not again. It's about leading by example. But so my
Mhm,
parents divorced when I was 6 or 7. So when Nala was 6, that's when me and April, my ex-wife, got
mhm,
divorced. Um, what's important is to try to break a cycle. To certain things that we've gone through or that my parents went through, being transparent and coaching her to when she's an adult, she won't make some of the same mistakes either of us have made or any of our relatives that we can relate to. Because some things kids inherit, whether it's personality traits or habits, just
mhm.
by DNA, genes.
True.
I remember when I would be a little girl, I used to talk about her a little bit more because she's biologically mine. So certain things she would do, I'm like, I used to do that same thing when I was that age. She didn't see it, so it's something she inherited. So some of the negative things that we do or that we encounter, sometimes they actually can be transferred and passed along to our children too. So not to bash them or make them feel like why you doing that. Sometimes they don't know because they got it from you. So helping her and helping Ty maneuver through life to not make some of the same mistakes, and if they do make them, help them through them a little bit better than we might have been helped through.
Gotcha. Parenting during COVID-19.
Hmm.
Parenting during the coronavirus. How has that been?
Beneficial.
Beneficial. I like that. How has it been
Beneficial.
beneficial?
So I live in Warner Robins. Nala still lives in Dublin with her mom,
Mhm,
primarily, and so we were every other weekend. So being that COVID hit, she became a virtual student,
mhm.
and soon as I knew that, I was like, "You gonna need help while doing schoolwork." Send her my way. So ever since March, was it March 15th or somewhere around that last year,
It
been
was.
with me every week and weekend, rotating. So
Okay.
she's had more time. The biggest struggle is going to be when it's time to go back to
Go
school,
back to school.
because she is a daddy's girl.
But that's awesome. It was beneficial to you to spend even more time,
More
especially
time.
where, like you said, being a virtual student.
Hmm.
How has what's your take on that, Damien? Parenting during COVID, during the coronavirus.
It was different for me.
Okay.
Um, I have a, like I said, I have a teenager, and
Mhm.
uh, his school didn't cut out any sports, so um, the difficult part was trying to make my son wear a mask.
Yeah.
Um, he didn't think he needed a mask. Uh, the virtual school was
Hmm.
it was okay at first, but again, I have a teenager, so like he said, some of the stuff it's DNA. So if I ain't gonna put no effort into it, I'm not gonna do it. So if daddy and mama ain't watching me, the cat and mouse can hide
Hmm.
until I log in on portal, parent portal, and see uh this ain't what I saw. These grades ain't what
Yeah.
um I need to be seeing, and you virtual. You should not be missing nothing. So it was different for me of COVID, even though I had to, maintain and understand this is what it is, this is what it's
Right.
gonna be until it's get under control. But wearing that mask and doing that work was a task.
I bet it was. Yeah. Because, like I said, with me working in a high school setting, our students were virtual for a very long time. So they returned to campus February of this year. And the rule was mask, you must. And sometimes they'll
Mhm.
come in, or I see them in the hall, they have the mask on, but it's below the nose, no mask over the nose in the mouth. So they just like, they'll tell me I'm sick of these masks. I say, well, I'm sick of it too, but guess what? We're going to ear to safety, put the mask on and keep it on. But yeah, definitely a challenge. What advice could you give or would you give a single parent, a young dad, or even a young woman, a young mom that's venturing out, new parent? What advice could you give them?
I'm going to say, revert back to what I said a minute ago. Be patient with your kids. Um, don't some certain things you shouldn't be mad at them about doing because they don't know where it stems from.
Mhm.
Uh, so just being patient with them, being empathetic, and taking the time to feel what they're feeling. Try to think the way they're thinking. We assume because we've been doing this for so long, or we know how to do this. I know how to spell talk. You should know how to spell talk. It's a four-letter word. Get it? It's new. A lot of stuff is newness to them. No matter how long you've been on this earth and how long you've been doing X, Y, Z,
Mhm.
taking time to help them develop. Be patient, because guess what? You don't get everything right, they not gonna get everything right. So
Right.
having that approach and again being empathetic with them will help them be nurturing them will help them nurture others or nurture their kids when that time comes for them.
Mhm.
So patience is what I would say.
Okay. Patience. We all need more patience. I know I do.
Yeah.
I would say um, my advice to single parents or single mother and father, um, the child didn't ask to be here. So once you have a child or once you start raising a child, it's not about you anymore.
Mm.
It's about the child. So all the finer things, it's okay to buy yourself something or please yourself sometimes, but if your child's not looking good and you looking good, who
Mm.
does that reflect?
That's a good point.
So my advice, we can still have fun as single parents and we can still do what we do, but make sure your child is taken care of before you try to do all the other things.
Mm. That's good. Make sure you jot down some of the things y'all are sharing. I have asked two more questions. We'll kind of wrap it up. What was I gonna ask? I didn't have it written down. It's just on my phone. Oh, this is my question. My question is, what advice could you give a single dad if they were having issues with co-parenting? If they were just having just severe issues with co-parenting and they were almost about to just throw in a towel and say, you know what, I'm just gonna let her have it. I can't. What advice could you give that single dad of not giving up?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Never give up on your child.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned this from experience. Don't give up on your child's mother or your
Okay.
child's father.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we want the situation to work how we want it to work, and
Mm-hmm.
that ain't how God wanted it to work. So you got to go through something in order to have something, or you got to go through something with that child's mother or father in order for y'all to see what's best for the child. And for me firsthand, it took me a while to figure that out. So just like the song say, you just gotta let go and let God. At
Mm,
times when you can't figure it out, you just gotta let go and let God. And it may not work out that next day. It may not work out that next week. Not even that month. It may be years, but in due time, when you look back, you already know the reason why you went through it. But don't give up on your child,
mm,
and don't give up on your child's mother or father.
mm. That was some good sound advice.
Hmm. To piggyback off what he's saying, never badmouth the other person.
Mm,
It don't matter how much they frustrate you, how wrong they are doing you directly. Um, Never badmouth. I remember growing up, my dad never, rarely would ever say anything bad about my mom.
mhm,
Same thing for my mom for the most part. But I remember when I got to teenage age, mama might slide in a little comment, a little hint, hint there. But my daddy never did that. And it was an example to me. And I probably should tell him this because I never have until now thinking about it. It taught me no matter what I'm going through with my daughter's mom, I gotta always be equal. I gotta always be level headed in everything that I present to her. Even if I need to communicate something that I don't like,
mhm,
I can't disperse that same energy. I don't like what happened, so the way I'm gonna translate it to my child, I gotta think about her or them and what I say and how I say it because they will pick up on that energy. They may go home and not want to talk to their mama or snap and have a little attitude based off of my energy because they care about me just as much as they care about their mama. So can't be biased
mm,
in how you feel and what you doing and what they doing and how they feel. You got to be very neutral with how you present to your kids because they again they pay attention to everything you do,
mhm,
everything you say, even if you think you saying it in a way to where they ain't gonna catch. I got an attitude about that. Yeah they will. They watch every conversation you have on your phone. They watch you when you're at the cookout and you sitting by your and you talking about certain things in their presence, thinking they don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, they do. So never bash, never talk about the other person in a negative light, and it'll come to a place where you won't even have to. They'll recognize and say, you know what, my daddy never, or my mama never, but my daddy always did, or my mama always, and you'll never have to tell them because they'll pay attention and develop their own opinion, their own perspective without you trying to influence it on them. So,
mm. Some good advice.
Also, with us being single dads, if we're as dads single, he has girls, I have a son,
Mhm,
a relationship is gonna come.
mhm.
So what do they do when that bad breakup happens? Because it's gonna happen. Are you gonna mope or are you gonna move on like daddy and mom? Are you gonna sit there and just make yourself miserable because you can't be with that person? Or are you gonna do like mom and dad, okay, let's just break this cycle and move on? Because again, like I said, the the bad breakup is gonna happen, but it's how you handle the breakup after it happens.
Yeah, ain't no need to be bitter. We not together because we didn't get along. Why? Now that we apart, we still can't get along. I ain't
Right,
with you. I ain't got to deal with some of the stuff I used to deal with. There's no need for that.
mm,
And a lot of people, for me, thought or couldn't figure out how and why does him and his ex get along. Ain't nothing inappropriate about us. Ain't nothing linger after that. When we parted ways, we parted ways. But being mature enough to say, I'm we are no longer with each other in that capacity, but we will always be in each other's lives because we have girls together. You know I ain't going nowhere as a daddy, and you ain't going nowhere as a mama. Let's figure this thing out and be adults, be mature adults about how we're gonna raise them together apart.
True.
You know,
Being mature adults. That's true. Parenting. Be
hmm
patient with your kids. I'm just gonna read some things you all shared as we come to a close. Be patient with your kids. Being empathetic. Take the time to help them develop. Nurturing others. It's not about you, it's about the child. Make sure your child is taken care of. Never badmouth the other parent. Never badmouth the other person. So true. Don't give up. So any single parents that are watching, don't give up. It says never give up on your child. If you're kind of in that area with your child, they may be maybe a teenager, they may be younger, where they're just developing who they are. As the older people say, they might be smelling themselves. Don't give up on them.
Don't give
They're gonna
up.
get through that because a lot of things they're going through. We went through the exact same thing, maybe different. We talked about earlier about social media. We didn't really have social media back in our day in the what 80s, 90s, but it's here. But a lot of things they dealt with peer pressure. We dealt with peer pressure. I can remember dealing with peer pressure, but today it's just it's different because of that social media and the cell phones that they have access to. And you talked about being neutral and not being biased and great communication and being able to comprehend what you communicate when it comes to raising your son, raising your daughter. I just want to give a big thank you, shout out to Mr. Allen Duke Robinson II and Mr. Damian Richardson for joining us on tonight. We just had some just innovative, captivating discussion on being single dad, single parenting. You gave some great advice. You were very transparent, and we did it. No one was bashed, and that's the purpose of this. We weren't here to bash anybody, but just to help someone along the way with parenting that you can do it. I'm not a parent, but from just listening to them, I talked about having sisters that are parents. I do believe that parenting can be challenging, but I believe that parenting is a gift. I believe that children are a gift, and I believe that parenting is a gift as well. So I just commend the dads on this platform. I know both of you. I've seen you interact with your children. You are a blessed man for what you do and what you provide for your children. So just keep doing what you're doing, and what you are imparting into your children will pay off. To any parents that are watching, married, divorced, separated, widowed, single, keep parenting, keep hope alive. It will come full circle, and that son or daughter will be what God created them to be, what has been imparted into them. Sometimes as we grow up, sometimes we don't always listen when we were younger, but they're going to come full circle and say, wow, everything my dad taught me, everything my mom taught me. Hey, I saw my parents go through a divorce, or I saw my parent become a widow, or hey, my parents may not have never married, but they made it work. They made it work. So thank you all again for tuning in to the people that viewed us tonight, family, friends, guests. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Let's talk about it. Tuesday Talk with Dr. Yaz. Our next month's topic will be real estate. So join us again. Thank you all, and have a great Tuesday night and a great week.